Hello there everybody, this is Alex from Hardcorian Guides, bringing my guide for Ninja Gaiden Sigma on Mastered Ninja difficulty. Today we're doing Chapter 2, the Hayabusa Ninja Village. So this comes directly from Chapter 1. You start off this chapter right after you beat the first one, of course. I mean, obviously, but I mean, like, you actually start off in the same position you were last time. So you start off in the training room, and then there are no enemies to take down. I don't know anything about the bats. I've never actually tested that theory out myself. I don't think they're down there. I don't see why they would be. Well, it's a cave. I mean, well, a cave-like area. Maybe they are down there. Not really sure. So, the instance you get done with any chapter, it doesn't matter. The game will not save until after you get to a checkpoint. Until after you save the game yourself. Yeah, they have autosave features, but it only works, as far as I know, it only works to, like, save a checkpoint. Like an actual checkpoint, where if you were to die at a boss fight, you know, you would respawn back at the boss fight. No, that's not true either, because if you die anywhere, yeah, you'd have to start over. Yeah, that's right. I'm completely wrong. I'm silly. My bad. I completely messed up that. That's my bad. I'll take full responsibility for that. Little mistake. So anyway, besides all that stupid nonsense I was speaking, there's really no reason for an autosave feature. You come down here, come back outside. Of course, there are bats in this area, so they're really nothing right now. Not until like chapter 4 or 5, when they start to explode. That's when they become kind of a nuisance. No, chapter 3. Actually, yeah, chapter 3, I think they start doing that. So anyway, you grab the Art of the Fire Wheels. I recommend equipping it as soon as you get it, because, you know, having Nimpo on, even if it is just the Fire Wheels, is kind of nice. It's a decent defensive mechanism, and it also increases your attack power. You can't upgrade it, though, unfortunately. So, if you're going to use it, just use it, you know, whenever you feel like you really need it. And I'll be using it a lot more on, like, Ghost Fish in the future. So, that's where I'm going to utilize that more often at. So now, we're heading into the Hayabusa Ninja Village, finally. And the first moment that you get here is you get to fight these armed guards. The best thing to do is to charge up. Immediately after you get the chest, just walk into this small circle area that was just in that I threw the shurikens at, and then start charging up. That way you can get the dash attack. If you're lucky enough, you can probably get like a red UT on them too. Which, by the way, I should explain this. Blue UT is charge level 1. It means ultimate attack. And red UT is the second charge when you hold down the triangle button. And that is called the, you know, red ultimate attack. So, that is the biggest ultimate attack you can do, of course. I mean, if you guys played this game enough, you should know that by now, but for those that haven't played this game or just watching just because, that's what this does. And as you can tell, like, a blue UT charge is okay, but it's never enough to actually fully kill somebody. Typically, 90% of the time you can kill an enemy instantly with a red UT, but there are chances that you probably can't. So these guys are particularly easy. I'm just trying to, you know, grind essence on them. Not too much essence, but just trying to utilize the blue UT charge to get more essence out of them. Now, I think once you absorb essence by charging, I think the essence disappears for good. So that means, like, if there was, like, 100 on the ground, like, if there was, like, one small ball of essence, let's say it's 100, and you charge up with it to get a blue UT and you kill somebody, you get, I think, like, times 3 of that. So you pretty much get it back and then some. But you do miss out on that 100 that you would have gained. That's the thing. Like, you could have had 400 if the game would have gave it to you, but that's as far as I know how it goes. You lose that 100, but you sort of gain it back. I don't know. It's kind of a tricky concept. Something you have to do research on your own, because the essence in these games are just strange. I've never really like fully understood what they do. All I know is, like, the big balls. You know, they really yeah, the big ball of essence really gives you a lot of money for it. So definitely worth that. If you break these right here, you do get essence out of them. At least sometimes, I feel like. Well, maybe not that time. Or maybe never at all. I could be wrong about that, too. I don't know. And up here, we get looks like a map. And nothing really. So, that's it for that. These guys are kind of easy to take down. They're really not that hard. If you're flying Swallow, you can break their guard and then immediately attack them right after into an uppercut. And that's a good idea of doing that. Like, as soon as their guard breaks, immediately do the square triangle attack and then knock them in the air and take them out that way. Because that kind of just rules them out a little bit. They're simple. So back here we got a Life of the Gods, and I think somewhere around here there's a scarab, and I wasn't sure where. I was certain it was down here, but I don't think it was, actually. Yeah, I take a peek around the water, and I don't think I've seen anything that I know of. but I could have sworn there was some stuff. There is, of course, an elixir back there. I think that's what I grabbed on the waterfall. Either I did or I didn't. I wasn't really paying that much attention. But anyway, that's where the chests are that I found. And immediately once you get this chest, just go ahead and save the game, because you're going to need this. There's going to be a bunch of hectic fights that are going to come up with magicians or alchemists, wizards, what do you want to call them? I'm going to call them wizards. And then you have, alongside them, you have the normal armored ninjas or samurai. They look like they're more like samurai to me rather than actual ninjas. But either way, they're still armored enemies, so they're still a pain in the ass to take out. Usually they take about like 2 to 3 flying swallows to kill. That one took me 3, I guess, so that's a pretty good sign. Now, these guys are dicks. So, what you need to do is you need to try to bait them out to do their... what do you call it? They have a certain attack where they flutter you with like a bunch of different like attacks. They try to stab you like multiple times. You want to try to bait that out and block it completely and then finish them off. That's the trick there. So, obviously, you know, if you know how to dodge that, just do it, of course. You know, there's really no getting into them. If you go to... Sometimes, like, if you go to where they were at, they typically, like, respawn right where they were at and try to do that. They try to do, like, that multi-hitting combo thing on you. And once they do, block all the attacks and then immediately do a square triangle attack so you can knock them in the air. Now, you can block the magic attacks, but you still take damage from it, though. It's very unfortunate that that happens, and there's nothing I can really do about that. If they do that full combo thing on you and do a flying swallow on them, it's not really going to do that too much damage. It'll probably take them down to like half health or something. So, really, I'd recommend just utilizing that attack instead. Flying swallow is nice, especially when you have a group of enemies you're trying to escape from some. But most of the time, it's not, like, really necessary. Yeah, see right there? He basically lowers his guard. He's nothing at that point. Because if you try to attack them any other time, they'll disappear. And they'll teleport away, and that's not good. That's not what we want. So, these enemies' weaknesses, at least in the beginning of the game, is to do the uppercut attack. Excuse me, sorry. Is to do the uppercut attack. That is probably the most efficient attack you're going to have in the beginning section of this game. We'll come back for that area, that statue later. If you found the statue head, you can come up here and grab the Life of the Gods. And immediately right after you beat that fight and you get everything you need to get, save the game. Unless you want to go back through all that stuff, then that's fine. I'm just saying, like, every time you get done with a fight, it's best just to save the game. Because this game can get kind of hectic sometimes, and you don't know what's going to happen, and you might get fucked out of it, so it's just best just to do that. Anyway, now we have the bow, and as far as I know, I've seen people going outside at the training area and shooting those targets, and they get essence from it, but I've never been able to get essence from it. I don't know how to, and I mean, if you guys know, let me know, but I don't know. So now I bought, I think, the wooden sword. It looks like I bought the Art of the Inferno. That's a must-buy. Immediately buy the Art of the Inferno. You're going to need that. And I also bought the Armlet of the Moon, which gives me a little bit extra defense. Now, the armlets are not, like, the best thing. There is one that's really good, and the Arm of Clarity, I think it was called Clarity. The one that gets your, like, UT charges to charge faster, that's pretty good. That's really noticeable. But your defense and your attack, I never really noticed it very much. I think it's like a small little bit of extra increase in your stat that you really get from that. So now, we have to fight these guys. You don't have to. You can run away from this fight, I believe. I think this is an avoidable fight for the most part. Luckily, we have a store next to us, so we can use that to our advantage. I got really close to dying here, so if you need to use any of your elixirs, go ahead, because I'm going to make the next fight and the next boss completely easy for you. So, yeah, if you need to use your elixirs for whatever reason, if you feel like you have to, then by all means go ahead. But most of the time, if you kill the enemies, you will get blue essence out of it, and that can save your life. So, just do whatever you feel like you trust better. Do you trust yourself with elixirs better, or do you trust actually grinding out the enemies and hopefully getting that blue essence? If you can trust your skill enough, I would recommend just taking out the fucking enemies. Because they're relatively nothing to me, really. Now, the thing is, if we ever actually get the chance to get it, the Armlet of Clarity, or whatever it was called, the one that gives you the extra UT charges, whenever you come back to this village, there's a trick you can do where you actually, like, if you keep dodge rolling away from the enemies, if you keep doing that, then you can get far enough to where you can actually get, like, one blue charge off of them. It's crazy. But right now we can't because it takes too long to charge. Anyway, shouts to Big Benedict for this trick right here. Immediately when you get into this room, run into this corner and try to face toward the horseman. and charge up your UT, because this corner right here is really good because you're kind of hidden away from the horsemen a little bit to where they can't actually like shoot you down. The arrows will pretty much miss almost all the time. You're almost guaranteed that'll happen. So as soon as you knock one of the guys off their high horse, immediately go in and try to kill them. You will spawn essence, and you can use that to your advantage to get these extra UTs. If they get anywhere close to you, immediately launch it. Now, the one cool thing about Ninja Gaiden that I like is the fact that the camera actually pans out a little bit whenever an enemy is in the area. So that way you can kind of focus on the enemy and give you, a sense of targeting them. And it helps out so well to kind of like know when to let go of the UT. So like as soon as the camera pans out, just like a second after, you're going to notice that there's going to be a horseman coming. Yeah, see, if you get that red UT, you can almost kill them, but it's never fully enough. And this is one of the rare instances where like getting an actual full charge UT on a normal enemy does nothing. Because the horsemen are basically like two enemies in one. And the same thing goes with like motorcycles. They count as like two different like enemies. So, yeah. If you really wanted to, I guess you could probably jump on the wall and hit these guys. Do like the wall slam attack. But I would recommend just doing this instead. This is the safest way I found. And I know like no other safe way than this. This is just really good. Really good area right here. Now the problem is you can't go back. And that's not really that much of a problem considering the fact that we can't go back for now. We'll come back later. Well, anyway, the area that we came from is blocked off, obviously. And there was a shop back there, and of course, there was a safe spot. Well, the thing is, there's actually a shop and a safe spot coming up real soon. So, like, right after this fight, you can immediately go into another shop. And that is very, very helpful. Now, if you wanted to take the essence for yourself, go ahead by all means. Because most of the time, like, getting that, red UT off the essence itself isn't really all that worthy, because hardly do you ever actually kill these guys. Now, I believe that you can actually flying swallow and attack them, and sometimes it blocks it, but I believe that there's other times where you can actually flying swallow into these guys and actually get a hit off on them. But I don't trust myself enough, and I don't trust these enemies enough, because they have an attack where they'll actually, like, stab you and then kind of, like, ride along with you and throw you on the ground. And I don't trust myself with a flying swallow enough to actually get in there and hit them, because I'm afraid I'm going to get grabbed by them. Now, granted, I could have fast-forwarded this part, but I decided not to. I mean, I think this is decent enough. I probably should have actually fast-forwarded, but, hey, it works. It's whatever. It's not too long. We only have, like, a few more seconds left before this is completely over. So once they start spotting, like, 3 or so guys at one time, that's when you'll know you're getting close to the end of this. Again, it's really not that hard. Like, once you've learned this trick, and once you get this down, these guys are nothing. Like, all you gotta do is just keep backing them to this corner. Now, make sure, again, that you're facing toward the horses, because the way that Ryu works is, like, you can actually do a UT if you're facing... Like, you can UT into somebody behind you, but they have to be, like, real close to doing that. And because the horsemen... Well, the horses themselves are so quick, it's kind of hard to sometimes hit them, like, right there. As you can see, like, he went by the screen too fast, so, of course, Ryu was not able to hit them. Now, whenever you actually get out of the corner, make sure you block roll. Well, pretty much just roll. That's the only way you can roll in this game anyway. So make sure you just roll into your corner instead of actually walking there. It's a safer bet. That way you can not get hit by the arrows and hopefully like block them off if they come by your way. So there you go. That's the end of the horses. Not that hard, is it? Nope. Alright, so now we have a boss fight coming up next. And you guys are probably thinking, oh god, the boss fight. It's like I completely forgot about that happening. Well, yeah, I wouldn't blame you. But we're about to make him my bitch, so he's really not that tough. So, get to here. Obviously, save the game. Buy anything you need. I went up here. I went up to the graveyard looking for stuff, and I didn't come across anything I could find. If you guys know of anything that you know yourself, by all means, go get it. I don't know of anything up there, so I just decided to ignore it. Now, this fight's kind of annoying because you have to deal with the magicians, or yeah, we'll call them that, magicians or wizards, whichever one. So you gotta deal with these assholes, and this makes the fight kind of more annoying. But the thing that I do is I'll actually do the trick where I run on the wall and then jump back and then do the same attack. That I feel like is a really good way of taking them down. Now, with the wizards there, it makes it kind of hard to actually get a UT off of the boss. That's who I'm going to try to get a UT off on. And they mess it up pretty much almost all the time. So I think it's just best just to wait for the boss to come toward you and then do the slam attack like this, because I do relatively decent damage to him, so it's still pretty good regardless. I think you can get a flying swallow on him, but I still don't trust enough, because he's basically just like any other horseman. He attacks the same way, he's just a little bit more bulky, and that's it. So he's really just nothing. If you stand on this wall, the enemies will pretty much come toward you. For the most part, they'll stay in your area. Make sure if you really need to, just go ahead and use your elixirs if you feel uncomfortable with this, because I really wouldn't blame you. You know, this fight's kind of tense. I mean, you have these assholes to put up with, and not only that, but you have the boss himself. So make sure whenever these guys spawn, you make your focus on them instead. And whenever the boss comes around, if you want to get like a few hits on him, you can. Now, if you're going to go, or if, like, say for instance, like one of your wall attacks kind of fuck up or something, like you messed it up like right here, you can actually go behind the horse while it's running away and hit it a few times and still get the damage off it, and he can't really hit you, because I don't think he's got arrows, so he can't really do much. He's more focused on charging into you rather than anything else. But see right there, I didn't even get the charge off on him. I had just enough time to actually still do the dash attack, so that also works too if you really wanted to. But again, with the wizards here, I don't recommend it. Only if you feel like it's a good point to do it at. So one thing to keep in mind is, well, luckily for this, the boss does glow. He's on fire, so he does make a glow, and that's a pretty good way to indicate where the hell he's coming from or where he's going to be at. So if your wall's starting to light up a little bit, just start jumping on it, get that delayed second for the attack, and then just immediately go in. And for these guys, do what you normally do with them. I mean, you can flying swallow these guys, because they only spawn like 2 at a time. They're typically kind of close together, so most of the time it kind of works out. Of course, the uppercut attack into a slam and then into a stab is pretty much almost guaranteed insta-kill, so that's what I use for them. The other problem with the flying swallow when it comes to the wizard guys is the case where you'll flying swallow and then they'll disappear, or they'll do like that combo attack after you. So that's something to be wary of. Now that we got the boss off the horse, what you're going to want to do now is do the uppercut attack and focus on the wall slam attack, because this here will save your ass a lot. If the wall slam attack does not work because he blocks it, immediately go into an uppercut attack and take him out that way. This guy, when he's off his horse, is shit. He's nothing. He is fucking nothing. He is that easy. It's retarded how simple he is. So anyway, that takes care of the boss. We now have the key to the door, and the rest of this is pretty much simple, but save the game anyway immediately once you get in here, because not only we're going to have a boss fight, which is nothing actually. You're supposed to die in the boss fight, but you also have to deal with these enemies first. And then once we get inside the house, there's multiple enemies in there too. So again, at least I don't trust myself with this enough. I always make sure I save the game, because I don't want to assume that I'll be fine and dandy, because that's not something you should do, really. So these guys are, your typical fanfare like you fought before. Nothing really. You're going to fight these guys like a million times, so you should be pretty much used to them anyway. Again, flying swallow is kind of nice. It's great because it closes in the distance too, so now that we have an open variety and no bosses to take care of, and mostly just like typical armored enemies, the flying swallow is kind of nice. Pretty much just do whatever you feel comfortable with. That's what I say. So this asshole was down here for some reason. I don't know why. He's being a pain in the dick. Yeah, you see right there, like as soon as he's done attacking you, immediately go into whatever kind of attack. Now, I didn't save the game because I felt like I trusted myself enough with this, and that was surprising. Yeah, even I'm surprised too. But you can if you want. You don't have to. Alright, so now in this room, you're going to break down these first 2 doors, and then enemies are going to spawn. Immediately back up into the back of this room, and then try to get any of the uppercut attacks as you can. Because like as soon as their block breaks, that's a good time to actually get them into an uppercut stance, and then really fuck them up. Now, as you can tell, most of the time they actually block my uppercut attack, as you see right there. And I still come down with the slam attack. And that actually helps out too, because it basically knocks them on the ground. And then you can get a couple stabs on them and pretty much practically insta-kill them. So for some reason these guys were taking longer to kill. I don't know why. It just was. And again, the game's kind of finicky with some of its mechanics, especially with the flying swallow. And as you saw right there on the wizard guy, I tried stabbing him and it didn't work. That happens sometimes. Bear in mind that the game does that. It's really annoying, and I don't know why it does it, but it just does. Yeah, it can be a pain in the ass, but nonetheless, still a good game regardless. So now we still have one guy left to take out. These walls here are broken open, so you can come over here and grab this. I think it's like a Life of the Gods, yep. And that takes care of that. That's a little secret for you guys if you didn't know that was there. Come out here and you're done. Just put down the controller if you need to, or just, you know, basically try to get in close to get yourself killed, and that's it. That's the end of the chapter. So, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you all next time when we play some more Ninja Gaiden Sigma on Master Ninja difficulty. And as always, take care, everybody.